This is going to be the first of 3 videos that I'm going to be doing about Holy Grail items that I've recently acquired. In other words, items that I've been looking for quite some time that are pretty hard to find. And the first one, in fact, is not a performance by Elvis. It's not a record by Elvis, but it's actually a song that Elvis made famous, very much associated with Elvis right at the start of his career. I will show you the early Japanese versions of Elvis's performance. This is the first version, Heartbreak Hotel. I Was the One. I'm still convinced this is the earliest Elvis Presley single picture sleeve anywhere in the world. It came out at the end of June 1956. Hound Dog came out in July 56 in America. And if you do want to get this and you want the first version, then make sure you get the one with the big hole in the middle, because shortly after that one came out, they changed the centers to this tri-center design, and they used that design all the way up to the early 1970s. The picture sleeve is the same. So the reason why I'm showing that is because the record that I'm about to show you is actually a cover version of Heartbreak Hotel. There was another cover version of Heartbreak Hotel from 1956. Maybe some of you have heard Stan Freberg's parody version of Heartbreak Hotel. It's quite funny, actually. If you haven't heard it, you can find it very easily on YouTube. Stan Freberg, F-R-E-B-E-R-G. So this particular version that I'm going to show you today, it was performed by a Japanese jazz musician called池田Misao. And he was a vibraphonist, and he had a group called the Rhythm Kings backing him up. This also came out in 1956, and I'll show you the record. There we go, and it's on Victor as well. Now, either my hands have grown to basketball player size proportions, or that is not a standard 7-inch record. And in fact, it's not. It's only a 5-inch single. You can see the catalog number there, 5S2. So not only is it a 5-inch single, it's one of the very first ones. It's the second one, in fact, released in November 1956. And these didn't stick around very long. They didn't make very many of these. On the flip side, incidentally, is Moon Glow, a famous jazz song. Most of the text is in Japanese, and it doesn't credit Elvis as a songwriter. You might say, well, fair enough, he didn't actually write it, but as we all know, the song is always credited to Axton, Durden, Presley. But the only credit you get on the label here is an arrangement credit for the song itself, credited to Ikeda. So you got the single there, 5-inch single, and it also comes with its own little sleeve, Nipper Victor record sleeve. These play at 45 RPM, by the way. It's brown around the edges there because somebody put tape on it all those years ago, nearly 70 years ago, presumably. The tape has fallen off, but it's left those stains around the outside edge, but no problem. Not only does it have an inner sleeve, it actually came with an outer sleeve as well, with a little flap there at the back. So you just pop the single in its inner sleeve and then back in the outer sleeve. And just as you might recall, if you've seen lots of my other videos, singles and 78s came with a little insert with them, and also this 5-inch single also came with an insert showing the band there. So there is池田Misao in the middle behind his vibraphone. And then you have 5 other musicians surrounding him, and they are tenor sax, bass, piano, drums, and guitar. So this guy,池田Misao, he was born, funnily enough, he was born on August the 16th, 1932, and he died in 1995 of heart failure. And he was a musician for a long time. He was in the business for over 40 years. Just returning to the record, the labels are smaller than a 7-inch single, so the labels are only 7 centimeters in diameter, as opposed to 9 centimeters on a 7-inch single. So that does mean that the playing surface is much closer to the center of the record than it is on a standard 7-inch. And it does mean that you do get a little bit of inner groove distortion. At least I did when I played it on one of my turntables. And you'll be able to hear that in a moment, because I've actually managed to upload the song to YouTube, the entire thing. And you can hear it after I've stopped jabbering on. I've just changed my cartridge actually on that turntable, so I'm hoping that it'll sound a little bit better. But maybe that's why they didn't make so many of these, because of the inner groove distortion. They are a little bit gimmicky as well, but this is perhaps the closest they ever came to releasing an Elvis record on this particular format. And it's a nice one to have. Anyway, I'll stop wittering on and let you listen to Heartbreak Hotel by池田操. And it's actually a pretty good version. Enjoy.